Welcome to another Bible story. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please do well to do so. Also like the video and share it with others. David had just defeated the mighty Goliath. The whole nation of Israel was talking about the young shepherd boy who faced the giant with only a sling and a stone, and won. Crowds in Jerusalem cheered as David returned from battle. King Saul watched from his throne. Jonathan, Saul's son, stood nearby smiling. From that moment on, David became a hero. King Saul invited him to live in the palace, and Jonathan, Saul's son, became David's closest friend. Jonathan took off his royal robe and gave it to David as a symbol of deep friendship, and said, smiling,
David, I give you my robe, my sword, and my bow. You are like a brother to me.
Jonathan loved David like his own soul. Their friendship would become one of the strongest and most loyal in all of history. David led Saul's armies into battle again and again. Each time he returned victorious. The people sang and danced, saying Saul has killed his thousands, but David his tens of thousands. Then Saul heard the singing. His face changed from joy to jealousy, and angrily he said to himself,
They give David more praise than me. What's next? The kingdom?
From that day on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. And soon, that jealousy turned into something more dangerous: fear. One day, while David played music to soothe him, Saul suddenly grabbed a spear and threw it at David. But David dodged it. Twice Saul tried to pin David to the wall, but David escaped both times. He kept serving Saul faithfully, even though Saul was growing more dangerous. He talked to his soldiers and his son Jonathan, saying,
Find a way to kill David.
But Jonathan loved David and warned him of the danger. He said to David,
My father wants to harm you. Hide in the field, and I'll speak to him.
Jonathan spoke to Saul in the courtyard. Pleading for David, he said,
Father, don't harm David. He has done nothing wrong. In fact, he has helped you. He risked his life to kill Goliath. You were glad then. Why hurt someone innocent?
Saul listened. His expression softened. Then sighing, he said,
You are right. As surely as the Lord lives, David shall not be killed.
For a while, things seemed better. David returned to the palace, but Saul's jealousy didn't stay quiet for long. In another battle, David won again. Saul heard more praise for David. Once more, Saul's heart was filled with fear and envy. One night, while David played music, Saul hurled another spear. David dodged again and ran away. This time, David fled to his own house. As he rushed into his home, his wife Michal, Saul's daughter, met him with worry and said,
My father has sent men to kill you. You must leave tonight.
She helped David climb out the window and escape into the night. Then she made it look like David was still in bed. Michal placed a statue under the blanket, covering it to fool Saul's men. When the soldiers arrived, one of them said,
He's sick. He's lying in bed.
Saul heard the news and was very angry and said,
Bring him here in his bed. I'll kill him myself.
But when they pulled back the covers, they found only a statue. David was already gone. David ran through the night toward Samuel's town, where he would be safe, for now. David was no longer just a shepherd, or even just a hero. He was now a hunted man, but through it all, he stayed faithful. He didn't fight Saul. He didn't seek revenge. He kept trusting God. David walked under the stars, praying softly, and God was with him. This story teaches us about loyalty, jealousy, and faith. David showed loyalty to Saul, even when Saul tried to harm him. Jonathan showed loyalty to his friend, even though it meant standing up to his own father. And Saul, his jealousy made him lose sight of what was right. Jonathan and David were very good friends, but Saul was operating on a separate lane of envy. We can learn to be like David and Jonathan, faithful, kind, and full of courage. And we must guard our hearts from jealousy, because it can turn something small into something dangerous. A true friend protects. A faithful heart trusts. A jealous spirit destroys. Guard your heart and walk with God. David was running for his life. King Saul had become more jealous and dangerous. Even though David had done nothing wrong, Saul wanted him dead. David had only one true ally left inside the palace: Jonathan, Saul's son, and David's best friend. David hid behind a tree just outside the city of Gibeah. He looked around nervously. Then Jonathan walked quietly toward him, and he asked Jonathan, saying,
Jonathan, what have I done? Why is your father trying to kill me?
Surprisingly, Jonathan replied to David, saying,
I don't believe it. My father tells me everything. If he wanted to kill you, I would know.
David said to himself.
He knows we're friends. He's hiding it from you.
Jonathan saw the pain in David's eyes. He didn't want to believe it, but he knew his friend wasn't lying. So he said to David gently,
All right, let's make a plan. Tomorrow is the New Moon Festival. You're supposed to eat at the king's table. Don't go. I'll see how my father reacts when you're not there.
David nodded and said,
If he stays calm, then I'm safe. But if he's angry, then you'll know he wants to harm me.
They agreed on a secret signal. After 2 days, Jonathan would go to the field with a young boy and shoot 3 arrows. If he said, "The arrows are beyond you," that meant David had to flee. The next day, Saul sat at the banquet table. His eyes scanned the room. David's seat was empty. The first day, Saul said nothing. But on the second day, he asked suspiciously,
Where is the son of Jesse?
Jonathan responded calmly, saying,
He asked permission to visit his family in Bethlehem.
Saul's face darkened. He slammed his hand on the table angrily and shouted, saying,
You son of a rebellious woman, don't you see? As long as David lives, your kingdom will never be safe. Bring him to me, he must die.
Jonathan stood up in anger, heartbroken that his father would do such a thing to his friend. He boldly responded, saying,
Why should he be put to death? What has he done?
Saul hurled his spear at his own son. Jonathan left the table, ashamed and grieved. Early the next morning, Jonathan went out to the field with a young servant. David watched from behind a large rock. Jonathan shot the arrows. Then he called out loudly,
The arrow is beyond you. Hurry, don't stop.
The servant boy ran to fetch the arrows, not knowing he was part of a message that would change everything. After sending the boy away, Jonathan met David secretly. The two friends embraced. Jonathan said with tears,
Go in peace. We have made a promise before the Lord. He will be between us and our descendants forever.
Thank you, my brother,
said David. And with that, David fled into the wilderness. He traveled through the countryside alone. He stopped at the town of Nob and met Ahimelech the priest. Hungry and tired, David asked the priest of Nob for food and a weapon. Ahimelech, the priest, not knowing all the details, gave him the holy bread and Goliath's sword. Nearby, one of Saul's men, Doeg, watched secretly. Doeg reported everything to King Saul. Later, Saul confronted Ahimelech angrily in the palace, saying,
You helped David. You gave him food and a weapon.
Ahimelech responded calmly, saying,
But David is your loyal servant. I had no idea he was fleeing from you.
But Saul, blinded by jealousy and rage, ordered the priests to be killed. The guards refused, but Doeg obeyed and struck them down. Only one escaped, Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech. Abiathar found David in the wilderness and said to him sadly,
My father and all the priests are dead because of you.
David responded remorsefully, saying,
I'm sorry. I knew Doeg would tell Saul. Stay with me. You'll be safe.
David had lost everything: his home, his place in the king's court, even the priests who had helped him. But he still had God, and God was not done with him. David walked through the wilderness, looking up at the sky, determined but humble. This story teaches us about loyalty, sacrifice, and standing up for what's right. Jonathan risked his life for David. David stayed faithful to God even when everything was falling apart. And though Saul had power, he lost sight of what really mattered. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Proverbs 17 verse 17. God is near to those who are broken, and he protects those who trust him. Dear viewers, we're not yet done with the story. Come back again for the continuation of the story. For your watching pleasure, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you've not done so. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.